Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, this is Anthony C. Ferrante, director of Sharknado.
Hi, this is the voice of BattleBots, Mark Miro.
This is Seth Shostak, senior astronomer at the SETI Institute.
Hi, this is Brad Steiger.
Hello, my name is Matt Simon. I'm a science writer at Wired Magazine and author of the new book, The Wasp That Brainwashed the Caterpillar.
This is Frank Joseph. I'm the author of an essay in the latest book, Lost Secrets of the Gods.
Hi, this is Linda Godfrey, author of American Monsters.
Hello, my name is Robert Salas. I'm the author of Unidentified, the UFO Phenomenon.
Hi, this is Nick Redfern, the author of Close Encounters of the Fatal Kind.
Hi, my name is Bob Luca.
And my name is Betty Andreasen Luca.
Hi, this is Jesse Prupas, the producer of JFK, The Smoking Gun.
Hello, this is Marty Langford. I'm the director of Doomed, the untold story of Roger Corman's The Fantastic Four.
Hi, this is Kevin Randall, author of Alien Mysteries, Conspiracies, and Cover-Up.
Hi, this is Tracy Roberts, Sandra Politsky Autistic.
I'm Jeremiah Bomex, the producer of The Reel of Horror.
Hi, my name is Bill Hall, author of The World's Most Haunted House.
Hi, this is Micah Hanks, and I'm the author of the book The Ghost Rockets.
And you're listening to Emmy on the Graveyard Shift Talk Show, blogtalkradio.com.
Get ready to kneel, true believers, because here's your host, Emmy.
Hey, welcome to the Graveyard Shift Talk Show, everybody. This is Emmy, and you are watching and listening to the Graveyard Shift Season 9, Episode 4, and this episode's titled Brad Steiger Returns. And I was thinking about either calling it that or Brad Steiger Strikes Back, but I'm like, you know what, just keep it simple. Yeah, I said SS, keep it simple, stupid, me being stupid. And it just, Brad Steiger Returns, just leave it at that. First, I want to welcome all of our awesome viewers on my Facebook page and on the Graveyard Shift fan page. Hello, everybody. Even if you're just stopping in and popping in just to see what's going on. And who's this big fat guy talking to me? Well, it's me. I'm the big fat guy. Candy Mountain. And for everyone else, for all the millions in attendance all over the world and all of our fans in Sweden, Australia, Scandinavia, wherever the heck you are, welcome to the show. Guys, guess what? I've got one heck of a treat for you. You know, we've got Halloween right around the corner, and it just wouldn't be Halloween without talking about spooky stuff. Oh, my God, I'm so scared. And, you know, what is more spooky than talking about ghosts and goblins and shadow people and, ooh, and Mandela effect, ooh. And, you know, if you're going to talk about these things, you got to have an expert, right? And, of course, who better to have as the expert of experts than the king, the paranormal king himself, Brad Steiger. Now, look, for those of you who are very truly unfortunate and are not aware of who Brad Steiger is, first of all, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do you need something? Do you need like aspirin or something? I'm sorry. No, really, look, Brad, first of all, he's a very dear friend of ours, of mine, of the show. He was one of our very first guests. Way back in time, and good Lord, I don't even remember what year that was, 2002, 2003, I can't remember. And Brad has also been on television a lot. Pretty much any paranormal documentary you've seen, if they ever put an expert on, it's him. Him and his wife, Sherry, have written, I mean, really a ridiculous amount of books. I mean, like 170 or something like that. It's ridiculous. You go to any major bookstore, you can pretty much find something that the guy wrote or at least contributed to that's in this genre. And not just this genre, by the way. Did you know that he was consulted for the movie The Day After Tomorrow? Him and Art Bell. And Art Bell, of course, is one of the major contributors of that film. But Brad also was consulted for that film. And a lot of other stuff, too, like with Contact, they consulted him, and a lot of other stuff. So we're very, very honored and deeply touched that Brad holds us in such high regard. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better compliment than what he gave me when I was speaking with him. Now, it's a pretty long interview, and I don't want to take too much of the time tonight. Now, I know a lot of you are watching us on our Facebook feed, so this is what I'm going to let you guys in on. If you want to listen to the actual interview, what I'm going to do is the link is right there. All you have to do is open a new tab, go to the link, or you can go to www.blogtalkradio.com/The Graveyard Shift. That's right, Jay. Yes, thank you, JS. That's true. So that once again, that's www.blogtalkradio.com/The Graveyard Shift, and the episode should already populate the top. It should already be, whenever there's a live episode of whichever you're listening to, it usually just populates right there, and you can listen to the interview that way. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to open a new tab, whatever, and if you don't mind waiting after I'm done, after the episode is done and the feed is over, I will be resharing the episode from the Blog Talk Radio servers, and you can listen to it. And, of course, you can always hear any of our archives on iTunes. I think we're on Spreaker as well. And I want to see we're on Spotify, but I'm not 100% sure. And a whole bunch of other places. I know we have, believe it or not, we're in Sweden in one of their audio sites, but I don't understand the language. So I would share it with you, but I don't know what it says. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and share the interview with you guys now. I'm going to play it on our Blog Talk Radio servers. I hope that our Facebook audience can listen in. I will basically be up and about. I mean, if I'm going to be watching the chat feed. If you guys have questions, I'll be responding either through the phone or that's obviously how I'm recording myself, or on the chat. Okay, so anyway, I'm talking too much. Here it is. The Brad Steiger interview. I will be back afterwards, guys. Enjoy. Hi there, everybody. This is Emmy with the Graveyard Shift Talk Show, and do I ever have a spooky Halloween treat for you? We have a returning guest who is an absolutely very dear friend of ours and of the show, one of our very first guests, and pretty much the most famous paranormal author, period, Mr. Brad Steiger. Now, for those of you who are unfortunate enough to maybe not know as much about Brad, let me introduce you to him. He's a very world-famous author of over 175 books with over 17 million copies in print. His titles include, I mean, this is only a very small portion, Mysteries of Time and Space, Real Ghosts, Restless Spirits, and Haunted Places, Conspiracies and Secret Societies, The Complete Dossier, Touched by Heaven's Light, American Indian Medicine Powers, Strangers from the Sky, Project Blue Book. Now, Brad, he's been around for quite a long time, and I'm sure those of you out there, all of you shifties out there that have listened to other shows, I'm sure you've heard him. And tonight we're going to talk about some little bit of a new thing, a little bit of new books that he's going to come out with. But first of all, I want to welcome him to the show. Brad, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing just great, and it's I can't tell you how delightful to be reconnected with my friend.
Oh, so sweet.
You know, we have talked about you, and we've wondered about you so often.
Wow.
And Emmy, it's just great to even hear your voice again.
Oh, wow.
You wild and crazy guy.
You know what? I love you so much. Thank you. So, you know, I it's true. It's been a long time since we've chatted, and you know, it's like I told you. There's really no excuse for it, and it just sometimes life happens, and you just have to kind of go with the flow. But I'm so happy that we got connected and back again, and you know, it didn't feel the same. The Graveyard Shift didn't feel the same without your wise voice, Brad. It just didn't feel the same. So I know you know you and Sherry both write. Now I know, is Sherry working on anything else that you want to pitch in, or before we get started here?
Well, not presently. She's not. We're in the process of a move as well. And we're on a nice little lagoon fed by a creek all time.
Is it a blue lagoon?
It is any color you want, my friend. And we were just counting the geese, you know, are flying south, and there must be, I don't know, how can you count them because they move around. And we were just having a ball a few minutes ago watching the geese come and go. They are such majestic creatures.
They really are, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. So that's where we're living now than where we were before. In fact, I think we've moved twice since we've talked to you, and we haven't moved all of our stuff yet, but we're living here in this new address, and we hope to hear more from you and get our connection humming again.
Oh, you will. I promise there's going to be a lot more updates to come, and I just informed Brad of our new family, our new, you know, more additional members of our family and everything, so he knows all about it, and he's pretty excited about the Graveyard Shift coming back, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's talk. So now this is. You're kind of, you know, with you, you're always in the news. You're always in the weird, wacky news, of course. But and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, now with this one though, you're kind of in the news again because there's some compilations that have been. Now, are these compilations already out? And just so everybody knows, this is what I'm talking about. Is Real Nightmares is coming out. Okay, and there's 4 of them. There's Real Nightmares. Okay, here we go. Alien Strangers and Foreign Worlds, Ghastly and Grisly Spooks, and Secret Schemes and Conspiracy Cabals.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Cabals,
thank you. And Freaks, Fiends, and Evil Spirits. And again, this is all under the same Real Nightmares. So now, Brad, I think you were mentioning to me now, these are just compilations. Are they going to be part of one book or separate, or how do these work now?
No, these are like kind of, what should we say? Teasers, I suppose. All the stories are complete in themselves. I should make that clear. So you're not going to get read a few pages and then buy the book. You know, no, these are all complete. They were chapters or mini chapters in books, and it's kind of like the the publisher said they wanted to give everyone a spooky Steiger Halloween. so he and some members of the staff got together and they went through I think he's published 12 of our books now at least, and just selected particular ones that they thought were eerie or creepy or kind of fit the whole Halloween. And then, surprise, surprise, Brad, 4 books by you are coming out at Halloween, which is a nice surprise.
I guess you could say that was their trick for you.
Yeah, trick or treat.
But it's a treat for us, right? It's a treat for us though, because we get to read more from the famous Brad Steiger. So,
thank you.
Of course. Now, it's interesting because, with me, of course, a lot of you know and that I'm really a big fan of UFOs and, well, really all of the paranormal subjects. But what's interesting to me is that, Brad, a lot of what you've been talked or spoken with about, my words are not good today, is shadow people. And I think Art, I think it was either Art Bell or George Norrie that on Coast to Coast, which is also a good friend of ours, sister.
Sure.
And they discuss this with you. And this is a subject that you discuss quite extensively throughout your many books. And I was curious if is there any new information that you've come across or anything that you've discovered that you can let us know about? I mean, I know I'm kind of jumping in here, but I
No. I mean, when you jump, you always know where you're going to land. Don't you kid me?
and I always get.
You knew you were going to land on just some new information that's coming in.
There you go.
Intuitively, you're a genius. You know that.
Oh, you're too much. You're too sweet. Thank you. As are you, sir.
Well, the shadow people, of course, this to me went all the way back to our work with Native American and the tribes. And suddenly, nothing happens suddenly, but it seems, because it comes into your awareness suddenly, and you find out something that's going on for 1,000 years, but it's new to you. Okay, so shadow people then suddenly became something that people were talking about, something that people were seeing. And we have to be careful because we then kind of bump shoulders with Slender Man.
Yes.
Yes. Those poor girls.
Oh.
At least they're not going to prison, but I mean, they did kill one of their friends.
Yep.
But they didn't really know what they were doing. They were so involved in this. Now, Slender Man isn't slowing down, regretfully.
Oh, there's
but
a movie.
Getting back to shadow people, is this? I think I know I have told you, but just to refresh that,
sure.
I grew up in a haunted house,
right?
And it had been the old stage stop, and like my sister and I decided there were a lot of passengers who missed their stage and were still hanging around in our house because we would see them at night. But one of the things we would see is just the shadow of someone moving around. So as Sherry and I began to explore with the Native people, we both feel very strongly about the Native American modality and belief structures and so forth. And Sherry herself is part Chippewa. So she has, an extra passion. But we were told that, if you look over your shoulder, your left shoulder, and there's a shadow, you must beware. If you look over your right shoulder and there's a shadow, it may be you should listen because he has come with a prophecy. Well, unfortunately, so many people now, and no one can really, at least I can't, I marvel how certain belief structures seem to resurface. I mean, you notice that in different, songs become popular. A kind of song or a kind of clothing becomes popular, and then fades out again, and so forth. So people began reporting these shadow people. Some have stories of terror. Some are just curious. Some see them walking around their homes, and some people associate them with UFOs, but most don't. Most don't. They seem to be somehow, as with many entities, rooted for some reason in some home, some domicile, or some tavern or hotel. We'll have a new book coming out next Halloween, Emmy, on ghosts, and one of them will be hotel ghosts. I mean, the guests who never leave, and there are a surprising number of hotels. Yeah, I know.
Liz, I am so glad you're doing that, because that's one thing I've been noticing is on all these books that I've been reading, you've written, and Nick Redfern, I know you know who he is, and and a lot of other people have written. One of the common mainstays, if you will, is this phenomena of hotel spirits and hotel paranormal experiences. And it's funny how you were mentioning how these shadow people or whatever, they are kind of connected or rooted to actual locations, and it's kind of the same thing with these ghosts, with these hotel ghosts, and in some cases they're rooted to actual rooms. Like they won't leave the room, and it's amazing.
No.
And
now and then there are the shadow people. We're going back to hotels now.
Sure.
That haunt the hallways.
Yep.
They don't seem to have a room. They're seen in the hallway.
Well, they're looking for the ice machine, Brad. It's hard to.
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are.
They might be. I mean, it's like you get thirsty,
But I hear from people who have begun working.
Yeah.
In a hotel, and they say I just couldn't take it. I know there are no such things as ghosts, but you're going to have to tell the entity that chased me down the hall night after night that he doesn't exist.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
So people are becoming more acquainted with the concept, but the kind of the thrust of the new book, Emmy, is what is a ghost really? What is a ghost really?
Yeah,
and
that's true.
We explore it, and I've asked several of my colleagues, like Nick and others, to also many of the guys. Some have their own TV shows and so forth, but who have just spent their lives, as I have, exploring this phenomena. What is it really? What are we really facing? And of course, we have to look at the survival question. Are these spirits of the dead, or are these multidimensional beings that assume to us or to the percipient of the phenomena a familiar shape? But, growing up, as I said, I didn't have any negative experiences with the entities. It got tiresome sometimes, and sometimes you jumped and there was pounding on the wall or doors opened and closed, but you get used to anything, and nothing harmed us. In fact, my mother, I know in another lifetime she could have been a medium. There was one particular woman who would come to her from time to time, one of the passengers that got left behind or missed the stage, and give advice. We're farm family, and when to harvest or there's a big storm coming up, you better get the corn in or the crop will be destroyed. She carried on a regular communication with her. So was that? No, she didn't recognize it as any of her forebears who had passed. Now, again, I'm totally sympathetic to the whole immigrant thing because, we were immigrants. We came from the old country, Scandinavia, and the entire farm section where I lived, all the farms from our place all the way to town, was the same family, really.
Right,
and if we had stayed, in the rocky shores of Norway, we didn't have the opportunity. So we were really, I love that, how families are unified, but yet, of course, we always entered into the whole population of the community near us and so forth. But people will say, well, yeah, but you grew up with a belief in the Hulda-folk and the Nissa and the Trolls and all of those things. But, it wasn't like this was a religion to us. These were just things, that we recognized. And in some cases, like in the new book, I have some newspaper accounts even from the 1880s where it appears, some of the Hulda folk and the Nissa and so forth really did come with the immigrants. What shall we say? The special nature spirits. That's really
sure.
what they are.
That's good. Yeah, or earthen. A lot of people call them earthen spirits.
Right. They decided, okay, if the family's immigrating, we're part of the family, and they came with. So.
Yeah. And it's funny because you're touching on something very interesting here. Because it's also a cultural thing, It's exactly what you just said. Every culture has their own specific, very exclusive spirit or spiritual phenomena. Like for me, we're Cuban. I grew up that my family was very, very into this kind of stuff. Although some of it was taboo. But one of the things was, oh boy, I'm about to lose it here. ¿Cómo se dice, coño? Not the chupacabra, but the duende, and the duende has different definitions, even within my own race or whatever you call it. Like some of us call it the ghost, and some of us it's a goblin that steals children. And
right.
Yeah, and it's like even nowadays when I ask my mother about it, it's funny, Brad, that there is a very real, very palpable sense of tension. Like it's real, like it happened to her, and I even asked her once. I said, "Mom, did you ever see one?" And she says in Spanish, "Mira, mijo, no me habla de eso. Don't talk to me about that." I'm like, "Come on, something happened. What is it?" But it's one of those things that you don't want la chancla, the sandal, so you stop. And but it's true. It's really true. There is so many specific things, and it makes you wonder. And forgive me for this, guys, but it's true. And I know Brad will back me up on this, but it makes me wonder how much of it is real, how much of it really is happening to the person, how much is a group hallucination, how much of it is, environmental things kind of, I don't want to say pushing, but helping the belief along. And then you kind of have to just, I don't want to say be skeptical, be open-minded, but also be realistic and practical.
Right.
Right. Like when I was speaking with Linda Godfrey, who is really big into dogmen and all that kind of stuff. I asked her, I said, how much of these things that people are seeing, even yourself, and I'm saying this with all respect, how much of them can we really say, you know what, that's just a really mangy dog, or maybe it's just a mastiff. Those mastiffs are huge. They're massive. I mean, my wife.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, my wife worked at a PetSmart, and her job was literally to wash dogs. And she would tell me horror stories of these things. She would tell me this thing walked in, and she wasn't even sure if it was a dog, how freaking big it was. Look at the Great Danes. Let's take a little trip in my imagination for a little bit. And here, I'll give you a cord so you'll be safe. You have a rope that you can pull from. And just think about it's at night. And you see, think of how a Great Dane looks, okay? Now, if you were to see this form, and it's nighttime and you see the moon, can you honestly tell me that if you just looked really quickly at that animal, that it wouldn't, just for even a moment, maybe it would register as some kind of dog person or even a werewolf? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that big.
Yeah, to me, it would at least have to be walking on its hind legs before I'd give it a second look.
Right. And that can happen. I can see that happen.
No, you're absolutely right, and as you know, try to make that point in all of our books. Is that belief can save us, it can keep us sane, but belief can also be the enemy in some cases.
Yes.
And we have to learn balance. We have to learn that. And certainly there may be truth to the beginning of a phenomena. And let's face it, the most powerful thing that we possess as human beings is our imagination.
Yes.
If it weren't for our imagination, we'd still be, grunting around in the rocks with clubs,
Well, some of us still are, Brad, I think. If you watch the news,
You said it. You said it, not me.
I won't go any further than that, but just,
No. We'll cause a detour at that point.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing, is that the old traditions may be kept alive by our thought forms that each of us have, whether we admit it or not.
Yep.
I have met, having taught in college and high school and so forth, and I have met some individuals who say they're not superstitious, they're not this, and they don't believe this, and they don't believe that. And then I have had late night calls from that same person. There's something in my room. What is it? Could it be? And you recognize that everyone has in the back of his mind the belief that a shadow person is near or could be near.
Sure.
Or could be visiting for Lord knows what reason.
Who knows?
So all of these things conspire to make us who we are and drive us on to pursue certain areas that we can't call them superstition as a blanket. Some, yes, are superstition. I don't think I have any superstitions because, all the things that people say, oh, do this or do that, you have to do that. Nah, I'm too much of a rationalist for that. But I have seen, I have experienced. I told Sherry, I can't even convey the fear that I felt as a 14-year-old being alone home in our farmhouse. Suddenly the doors fly open, furniture is tossed around.
Oh my gosh.
My dog is right there going insane, barking. She was a marvelous dog. She was, from time to time, a disease in the country wipes out dogs, and we actually tracked and ran down a wild dog. And once we tamed it, of course, it was the most fierce protector you could imagine. But that Queenie was fighting everything, and out of silly deliberation, I ran up and got my Winchester 22, and then I said, stop, or shoot. And I thought, what am I going to shoot? I can't see anything. The furniture is just tipping over, and the walls are thudding.
Your dog must have been like, look, just don't shoot me. That's all I ask.
But, it's so strange. I wrote about that experience in a book about dogs because I love dogs. Sherry loves dogs. So we've written a book about dogs, and I included that, what was the incredible thing, and just left it completely objective so people could respond however they want.
Right.
And this is now like 50 years after I graduated from college. But my college roommate read it and said the exact same thing had happened to him when he was a boy on the farm. And I wonder if there's something about, here we go now, the out of doors, the nature spirits, the entities that may have been there before. There could have been murders and slaughters and everything on where now stood our farm, you know.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know that. So all of these things are real, but we have to keep a sound, balanced mind as to when we truly divine that they are real and when they can be tricks of our imagination.
Right, exactly. And, and that beautifully, kind of segues into a subject that I've been talking on the show about very, very frequently, which is of the Mandela effect. And I was curious if you were familiar with this, and if so, what is I really want to know what your take is on this thing.
Well, just define what you mean, and I might have made something different.
That is my apology. I'm sorry. Well, the Mandela effect is kind of this phenomenon that's been happening, and if this gets you into it, I am so sorry, but it's a collective misremembering of things, and it's what happens when, like, for example, one of the recent Mandela effect. Well, actually, the way that it all started out was that everyone seemed to recall that Nelson Mandela died in prison, and that wasn't the case. He didn't die in prison. Right. No. And some people remember it that way, but a lot of others, including myself, don't. Like, we have this very vivid recollection of him actually, like, it being in the news and everything, of him dying in prison. And that's nothing. That's just one of them. Another one is, like, for example, from our childhood, reading about the Berenstain Bears, and how the word Berenstain was spelled a certain way, and we remember it being spelled this way through our childhood, and all of a sudden it's been changed. And it's been changed, like, kind of like Back to the Future style. And now this is, like, going into movies even, where like, even the Forrest Gump quote, he doesn't say life is like a box of chocolates. He says life was like a box of chocolates. And we swear up and down he didn't say it like that. And it's just, and then it's going into the whole JFK thing, and it's just, this thing is just going everywhere. I mean, it's just kind of going, it's like an octopus. It's going, and it's kind of like a mind blow kind of thing, because it's like, what's going on in it? I mean, even some of our viewers think there's some kind of dimensional, kind of parallel dimension thing happening, where maybe, we're getting, which quite frankly, I think in a lot of these cases, it's just false memory. And, but this thing has become kind of a beast, and it's become the new paranormal topic. And I wasn't sure if you had heard of it, but
yes.
Yeah.
And I agree, and I, in a couple of months, will be 82, and I am.
You're going to be 82
now. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I am able to perceive when I listen to friends talk that no, it didn't happen that way.
Right.
And especially in our field, I hear and then remember how that entity knocked out a window, and no, rattled the window but didn't knock it out. But people swear, and it's that trick of memory. Whether you call it the Mandela effect or whatever word you're using. The Mandela is, of course, the current vernacular. But it's something we have to watch, and I don't know, unless you have taken notes or written things down the way, us habitual writers do, write everything down or take notes every day and so forth. You don't really have a record. And sometimes, you get in really kind of salty debates and arguments with your friends who remember things a certain way. And like you say, the cultural thing, now, I kind of blame it, because I'm an old fogey now, I kind of blame it on the Internet and the social media, because you will see so many interpretations of the same act. And, we have individuals who are sorely abusing the Internet and some of its tools to convey things that turn out to be total lies. but then convincing because people see it and because so-and-so said it, it's true. I think mass communication, Emmy, is getting more difficult than ever before.
Yes, I agree. And I think social media is a big cause for that. I think that's
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be, I remember this, I'm old enough to remember this, that it didn't used to be like this. It used to be that if you wanted to speak with someone, okay, youngsters, here we go, you wrote them a letter. Or, I was in the first test group. I don't think Brad knows this, but I was in the first test group of the eastern seaboard or the eastern part of the United States. When I went to Florida State, I was a part of the test group for the first email cross overseas. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. We were, I went to Florida State in like the early 90s. And, email was around, but it wasn't really as quick as it is now. It would actually take like maybe a day, to get from, I know that sounds crazy to some of you guys, but it's true. Email did not always used to be instantaneous. It actually would take some time to get from one spot to the other. And, so they were testing, they wanted volunteers very quickly. I'll just say that, they wanted volunteers. And they asked if the students would want to be volunteers, and they would, give us like, I don't know, like a free food coupon or something. And listen, when you're a student, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Right. Do I even need to go any further? I mean, you're a college student, free food, okay. Sure, inject me, go ahead. So basically we did it, and it was fun. It really was fun. We got to actually share email with CERN. So I somewhere in CERN there's a file. And one of these days I want to go over there, and my name is there, and I want to see it. I am part of CERN somehow, so that was always fun. But the reason I brought that up is because it didn't used to be. Now we are so connected virtually that we've lost the physical, tangible connection. We've forgotten that we are actually human. And, I think maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what's happening with all this stuff. Where maybe part of all these, the Mandela effect and all that stuff, maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe we've lost so much of our humanity that we're starting to lose our memories collectively.
Oh, yeah. Are you sure you're not turning 82 as well?
I've been told that, actually. I've been told that. I take that as a compliment. I know you meant that as that. So
I meant it as a compliment. Yeah.
No, I know you did. So and really, not only that, but I mean, with any genre, things just pop up, and we get new topics and new things get blown into the conversation. Sometimes old topics get rehashed, like you mentioned, and one of them also that I wanted to discuss with you was the flat Earth, and how that somehow I know.
I've seen it. I've seen the write-ups.
Right?
I've seen, yeah.
Oh, let me tell you. So I'm just gonna come out and ask you, Brad. Do you believe the Earth is flat?
I don't know if I ever believed that. I grew up in the prairies. And you could see so far, and then you didn't have to use your imagination to see that when it hit the horizon, it just kind of, and I thought, no, if it were flat, it just keep going.
Right, exactly. And, I mean, it's like I had a show about this, and we actually had a caller calling in that obviously was against it, but it was rather amusing because online when the episode description got out, we actually had a debate online where people saying, no, it's flat, man. I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, have you ever seen the International Space Station feed? I mean, seriously. But anyway.
Incredible.
It really is. I mean, there's really, guys, I'm sorry, but there's really not any further I can go with that. It just is not flat, period. I'm not going to even give it any more time than that. But what I would like to, I know we've been chatting for quite a while, but what I would like to speak with you briefly about is part of your book, or these new books, discusses more the hollow Earth. And I've always been.
I was just going to say, maybe we should discuss the Hollow Earth at this point.
You see we're already reconnecting. You see?
Yeah, we're reconnecting. I don't think we were ever disconnected.
No, we weren't. So if you can you talk to us a little bit? What is the Hollow? For those of us that may not know, some of our viewers may not know, what is the Hollow Earth, and what are your views on it?
Well, it's you can't just dismiss the fascination with the Hollow Earth. Now, if you say I just can't accept it, well, you're in good company. But we go back, to so many of the ancient religions, the Agartha and some of the Indian religions and Eastern religions that truly believed that there was this cave of the ancients that led deeper and deeper into a hollow earth, and there was a magnificent, almost blissful heaven awaiting people, and people dwelling there were they were kind of semi-divine beings, most of them. So you can see how this has been a persistent legend. The Nazis, that at one time the scientists said, if we find the opening to the hollow earth, we'll have another advantage point to strike from. Right. And this has gone on. So it really was set in motion when Ray Palmer, that wonderful editor of several magazines, the originator of Fate magazine before Kurt and Mary Fuller took over, he discovered this Richard Shaver, who said that he had been kidnapped and taken below by the Darrow. Now, the Darrow were detrimental robots who inhabited the hollow earth, and the Shaver mystery took great, sway of the whole science fiction world. Mm-hmm. And excuse me, I have to erase that and correct that. He had sent it as a science fiction story.
Right.
But then Ray thought, this is too good to waste, and kept the Shaver mystery alive. And Ray even told me that when he went to visit Richard Shaver, Ray said that he could hear voices talking from somewhere in this pipe to hollow earth or whatever.
Wow.
So this caught on, and it has really kept a large mark in the metaphysical world. Not so much right now, but believe me, it'll surface again. And many Orthodox, I shouldn't say many, a number of Orthodox scientists have recognized that indeed when an Atlantis-type Earth destruction occurred, that many of the survivors of that civilization went into caves. Now, we know that especially when you were just a kid, when the whole Cuban crisis was on, and I was teaching at that time, and we had to give instruction on how the kids could dive underneath their desks and so forth.
Right, the bomb drills and all that, right.
Right. So at that time, again, it was revived. And we know that huge caves were, I shouldn't say caves, tunnels and dwelling places of extreme sophistication were dug and created by our armed forces. And we recognize that this could be a place of salvation if a great asteroid hit. And then others of a more pragmatic nature said, yes, but how could you survive? Could you really have enough food and water down there? And when you came up and the earth was completely destroyed, how long? What would be have you increased the longevity of the human species by doing so?
Right.
But there are all kinds of traditions in the past that did occur when a global annihilation of the species occurred, as I said, an Atlantis-type destruction. Mm-hmm. And it surfaces from time to time. It makes interesting reading, I have to give that. And this whole idea of the Darrow and the Tarot. So part of the entities are on our side, but the other part, that's why I say warning to future man, they kind of warn us against going heavy on creating robots. And you notice how there's been kind of a backlash on the whole robot concept of,
yes,
yeah, will they think? Can they think? Well,
I mean, we already got we've already got Watson. Watson scares me a little bit. I mean, he's a little bit too much in the mainstream right now, and I'm like, I want to tell those people, stop it. Yeah. Stop it. That's enough. That's enough. He's too realistic. And
he is.
The Japanese are terrifying. I mean, they're coming up with these. Good Lord. I mean, you've heard of these robot controls hotels, right? Where everything's autonomous. And it's like, well, no, I want a human being, you know. I mean,
yes.
Come on.
I probably am pushing the button here, or the line. So tell me, but have you seen those human robot females the Japanese and others are creating?
Trust me, on this show, that's not pushing the line. Yes, I have. Yeah, that's.
I mean.
There's even a self-controlled one, okay? There's like, I'm not kidding. Oh yeah. And
some can talk, and some can moan and groan, and I mean,
oh my gosh.
I just see, a lusty adolescent boy, and he's going to say, why should I ever meet a woman? Why should I ever get married? Why should I ever have children? I've got Yolanda, my robot, here.
Oh my God!
No, I mean, look how it could happen.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, well, hey, if we can't learn from the example of the Matrix films, I don't know, and Star Wars and Metropolis then I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know.
The way back to Metropolis, right?
That's right.
But it's something as a former high school teacher and college teacher, but especially high school, now I'm going back, of course. I was teaching in the 50s and 60s, and I know things have changed, and that's good old television, and that's good old internet, and so forth. But I saw that the big problem with boys and girls, that at that time, boys were actually afraid of girls. It was like girls had a separate culture, and they didn't really need boys. And of course, this is the time, in early adolescence, when the girls shoot up like Amazons, and the boys haven't got their growth spurt yet. And it does even they're just actually afraid. And again, as I've traveled around the country at that time, and conversed with people who, say, well, I'd like to get married, but I just don't know how to talk to a woman. I mean, you're 26 years old and you don't know how to talk. I mean, they are human. They are human. But with the robot, you don't have that worry. She's just going to say, oh, yes, and I see that. No, I see this.
No, I agree.
It upsets me. I mean, it really does.
No, it's true. Listen, all kidding aside, no, it's true. It's terrifying if you think about it. And it's kind of scary. That's the way we're headed. I mean, all I have to say is the word, "Hey Alexa," "Okay Google," "Hey Siri," and there you go. That's proof right there. All the naysayers can say whatever they want, but which way are we headed, guys? We have already got VR headsets, and I've already called this before. And I have a great deal of respect for my dear friend Neil Mant, the producer. I know you know who that is. and with his work on Destination Truth and all that stuff, and now he's into the VR technology, which I really think is the future of entertainment. I truly do. But how far are we going with this thing? Because Alexa is controlling our house now, not mine. I mean, we don't have Alexas here, and I'm trying to keep it that way. But
we won't have it. We won't have it.
No, I mean, I think maybe that's. I don't want to talk to a machine and say, "Hey,
no."
I mean, no. If I want to get a bagel, I'll freaking go get a bagel. I mean, I don't. I need to. Oh my gosh. I mean, come on. Oh boy. Well, listen, Brad, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart so much from taking the time to chat with us today. And you know what? It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor speaking with you. And I'm so happy every time I hear that you're coming out with a book. I just, oh my gosh, it's like a little fanboy in me, like, oh my God, he's gonna come out with another one. So now, okay, are these books already available, or do you know when they'll be available for people to purchase?
They are only available as ebooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they go to like Amazon or
right.
something like that, okay.
Right.
And again, they're individual books that these people people can purchase and whatever. And again, guys, this is nothing. I mean, all you have to do is look him up on Amazon. He's got a ton of them. So now, Brad, I'm going to press you here a tiny bit. Is there any way that we can entice you to send us a signed copy of one of your books so that maybe we can give away to a lucky fan?
Sure. That's no problem.
Wonderful. So there you go, guys. Be on the lookout. I will be giving away a signed copy of one of Brad Steiger's books, and that will be going to one of you lucky Steiger fans out there and Graveyard Shift fans. And I can't think of a better gift to give that loved one of yours for the holidays. So these are coming out. So now, aside from this, you have the one about books the one about books, the one about ghosts that's coming out, and that's coming out next year, correct?
Right. It'll be out about July, and it will be the big Halloween book for us next year.
Great.
Now,
all right. Go ahead.
I surely didn't mean we could talk about any one of the books. These books are, to me, it's exciting to have one's publisher select what he considers and the staff consider really exciting stories. And as I look through them, I think, well, they've done a good job, and there are some good stories there. So I'm delighted personally, that this is, I think, really a nice tribute to me.
It is. It really is. And it's a deserving tribute, if I may say so. It really
well,
is.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of, really, I think this is a good way for the people that don't know, maybe especially the younger generation, this is a good way for them to know and kind of get introduced to you. And for those of us that have known you for so many years and have read through your books and been fans of yours from the very beginning, I mean, this is just another treat, another present. And, I agree. I think it's wonderful.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate your saying that.
No, of course. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So we want to thank you again for taking the time, Brad. And we
it's a pleasure.
Again. Absolutely. And, we'll be in touch, guys. We'll make sure to have Brad on again very, very soon. And we'll be keeping you in touch with all his news and updates. And Brad, as always, it's absolutely wonderful to hear from you. And, give our love to everybody. And
well, same here. Same here. And honest to God, really missed you.
There you go, guys. That is our interview with Brad Steiger, and what a sweet man. What an amazing person. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was one of my longest interviews that I've had in a very long time, and well-deserved. If anyone that would have that kind of a length with, that would be him. I would like to thank our Facebook fans for sticking in there to the bitter end. I know it can be, maybe it is enjoyable to watch me sitting here and listening. Maybe it is. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening. Stay tuned next week. I'll have Mark O'Connell, an author and it's the Close Encounters man, and we'll be chatting with him next week live on the air. That's it for the Graveyard Shift Talk Show, guys. This is Emmy, and I will see you later. Peace.